So with the simple guacamole dip, I like to start by making a simple paste and then folding it into my avocados. Now, with the simple paste, I buy this fresh organic salsa from the grocery store. It can be found at any of your local grocery stores, and it includes all the ingredients you'll basically need for a really good guacamole. Now, with this salsa, there is onions, there's tomatoes, and there's jalapenos. If you read my food blog, you know I don't really like spicy, so there's just enough jalapeno in here just to give it a kick. But we're going to start by making that. We're going to add this in here, about 1 tablespoon of this salsa into this bowl. And then we're going to use about 1 tablespoon of cilantro. Now, if cilantro is your thing, then feel free to add more. And cilantro is a great healthy ingredient to add to, of course, guacamole and just about any other dish. You can add it to soups, rice, whatever you like. And to kick it up a notch, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons more because we want it to be a little spicy. I mean, it is guacamole. And today we're going to be sharing. So I think everyone else likes their food or guacamole a little bit spicier than I would. Now, with that, I'm going to add just a pinch of salt to this paste. And just a pinch. Salt is just not something you really want to have a lot of in your diet, just, in moderation. So we're just going to mash this up into a paste form. You just want to cut these into very liberal chunks for your guacamole. And we're just going to add this, making a bit of a mess here. But, a mess is actually good. And if you have kids, this might be a fun dish to make with them because kids like, mushy chunks of goodness. And, it'd be a good way to incorporate it in their diet. Maybe take out some of the spice. But, move this guacamole over here. And we're just going to continue to cut it into chunks. Just, like I said, very liberally. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be very neat. This is kind of like a messy finger dip dish that you can keep on hand for you and, some guests when you have friends coming over and you don't want to make anything too heavy. Or when you just want something for yourself in the house, definitely something a healthy snack to have on hand after a long day of work. And literally it's going to take 5 seconds once I get this last piece of avocado in here. So now that we have our avocados cut up and we have our paste ready, before we add our paste to our avocados, which are in this bowl and chopped up, we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of this cilantro to the avocados. We're going to add 3.5 tablespoons of this mixture, this organic salsa. And, the organic kind is just as good as the regular. And, it doesn't have all the extra syrups. It's fresh ingredients that you can have, and it's quick. Now, we have those ingredients in there. We're going to add just a tad bit of the salt. And now we're ready for our paste. Going to add that paste in there so you can get a good look at that. Now, usually you would stir guacamole. We're going to fold this in. You just want to fold these ingredients in. Fold. Get it in there. You want to make sure everything's combined. Make sure that cilantro gets, wrapped around the avocado, and it'll just blend together naturally. There you go. You have all that chunks of goodness. Now, the very last piece of this recipe is going to be the lime. And you need that so the avocados won't, brown, because as soon as you get them, you'll take about a half a lime and just squeeze that over your guacamole mix. You see? And it does nothing but, just combine that in. Again, fold it in. And now, voila, you're ready. you have your guacamole dip, and all you need to do is add that to a plate of your favorite tortilla chips. Now with tortilla chips, that's a personal preference. You can either, they have multi-grain chips that are out that are, they're so good, they're really healthy, and they taste fantastic. Today we chose some whole grain chips. They're just as good. They're not, terrible for you. They're not bad for you. I mean, definitely do everything in moderation. A whole bag could do you bad. But if you do just, a few chips and some guacamole dip, you're set. So there you go. That's a healthier guacamole, happy you. Okay, now for our second dish. We're going to make a 3-step, easy, simple stir fry. The 3 ingredients that we're going to use today are a bag of frozen mixed vegetables, which includes broccoli, mushrooms, and a whole bunch of different other ingredients that are healthy for you. The second ingredient, we're going to use a simple stir fry sauce. You can find this stir fry sauce at your local grocery store, and it comes in a variety of flavors, including ginger or your plain sauce. And today we're just going to use a simple and plain sauce, but ginger is definitely a great addition to a healthier diet. And the third ingredient we're going to use is a firm tofu. Now, a lot of people think that, chicken is the only way to get your protein, or one of the main ways, but you can also use a simple, tofu dish to get that same protein. And today we're going to use that. Now, we're going to get the tofu out of the fridge. Here we have a firm tofu, as I stated, and I like to leave my tofu in my water until I'm just about to use it because it just keeps it fresher and it's just better. Before we get the tofu cut up, because I'm going to work with that in a second, I'm going to turn on my stove up to medium-high. And we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is great. It's just enough flavor to your dish and enough oil to get everything sizzling in the pan. So we're going to get this in here, get the pan heated up and ready. Oops, won't clink there. But we're going to just let that heat up. And while that's heating, we're going to cut up our tofu. Now with the tofu, I like to cut it just, a few blocks here. And with tofu, there's so many things you can do with it, so many variations, and it's just such a healthy addition to a dish. I typically use my tofu in a miso soup, which is such a great way to, add healthy ingredients to your diet. Now, just going to cut this again, and because we want a lot of chunks. We want it to be, add just the right amount of goodness to our dish alongside our veggies. So now, there we go. We have all our chunks. That's ready to go. With the tofu, you're just going to leave this on the side because you don't want to add it to the pan just yet because tofu cooks very fast. Now, we're going to add in our frozen veggies. Now, today I picked a broccoli stir fry. And in this broccoli stir fry, of course, there's broccoli, there's mushrooms, there's carrots, there's red peppers. There's just all these healthy ingredients that are just simple and easy to make. And after a long day's work, it's kind of hard sometimes to eat healthy because you think it's going to take a lot of time. Well, today I'm going to show you just how easy it is. I think our oil is ready. We're just going to test a little bit there. Okay, it's not quite high enough. Okay, now that our pan is heated up, we're just going to add in the rest of these veggies from the bag. Again, like I said, there's broccoli in here, there's mushrooms, there's carrots, there's, red bell peppers sliced up. And it makes it a lot easier to eat healthier when things are already kind of pre-made, especially after a long day. This is just a quick recipe. Definitely feel free to, chop up your own fresh veggies and add them to your dish. But this is just the way so it can save you a little bit of time when you get home. And that way you don't really have an excuse for not eating healthier and being a happier you. So with that, I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. I'm going to add about another teaspoon of oil just to get it going. And this will allow the veggies, all of the veggies, to get sizzled and cooked and ready for the tofu. So we're going to allow that to cook. It's on high or medium high. And like I said, we have our sauce stirred up, and we're just waiting until all of those things heat up. And then we're going to add our tofu to the dish next, because as I said before, you really just don't want to overcook tofu. Either one of two things will happen. Either it will become really mushy, which is definitely not something you want to have in your dish. It'll either be mushy or it can become, I guess, a little too overcooked and hard. I'm going to add in my tofu. And like I said, tofu comes in at the very end of this dish because you don't want it to be too soggy or too overcooked. So we're just mix those in there. And now the last piece is the stir-fry sauce. So simple. Now you want to do about 2 turns of the pan. You don't want too much because you don't want to drench it. The stir-fry sauce is just there for seasoning. And you add those in, and we're basically just warming up the tofu in the sauce. Okay, so now that this is cooked, everything's sizzled and ready and heated, we're going to add this to our plate. Now, you can use either, you can add a rice or, whatever. You can put it on top of a rice and, and have that together. Or you can have it solo. So we're just going to add these to this plate. And you see how that steam and the aroma in here is just amazing right now. You have all these flavors together. And it was just really, it's simple. It took 5 minutes to make. I mean, the key is just getting your pan heated up.